Take a look at this image for a second. Which prisoner do you think is rich? Let's see. It can't be the first guy since his food is partially rotten. It looks like the other inmates don't really like him, and he doesn't have a lot of power inside the prison. The second guy, while he looks super wealthy, his jewelry is actually fake. This leaves us with the last guy, and bingo, it's him! Look, he's got a laptop under his plate and a phone under his arm. He's the richest for sure. Susie was invited to take part in a pop-up riddle show. She needed to answer one question correctly to win $1,000. She was extremely nervous when the game show host asked her this question. How many numbers are on a clock? Can you help Susie figure out this one? The answer looks obvious, but it's not. You need to do some math. The correct answer is 15. It doesn't work if you simply stare at the clock and say there are 12 numbers. You see, the numbers 10, 11, and 12 are made up of smaller numerical numbers, so the correct way to count it would be in a clockwise fashion. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 0, 1, and 1. Phew! A local thief was running around playing tricks on some neighborhood stores. On a Saturday morning, he walked inside Mrs. Buchanan's shop and stole a $100 bill from the counter when she wasn't looking. He grabbed a shopping cart and filled it with $70 worth of goods. He paid for everything with the $100 bill he had stolen and even got $30 back as change. How much money did the store owner lose in all of this? The shop owner just lost $100. I know it sounds too simple, but here's the deal. In total, the store owner lost $70 worth of merchandise, plus the $30 she gave as change. So yes, she lost $100. Maya was roaming through the multiverses when she ran into a gatekeeper guarding a green door. She said she needed to go through the door in order to access her original timeline, but the gatekeeper would only let through those who answered his riddle. He told her that some things can go through the green door while others cannot, and she needed to figure out what all of the things had in common. And then he tells her, "You can come through the door with a carton of eggs, but not with a box of donuts. You can pass through it with a gallon of skim milk, but not a quart of it. You can bring with you some bamboo, but not jade, orchids, philodendron, or ivy. Sadly, you can't come through with dogs and cats unless they're still puppies and kittens." Can you help Maya figure out the pattern in common with all of these things? Well, the key to solving this riddle can be found in all 4 of the words that make up the phrase green glass door, aka double letters. If something is spelled with double letters, it can go through the green glass door. If there are no double letters in its name, then it can't. Mark went to the farmer's market to do his weekly grocery shopping. He stopped by the egg stand, and the owner was feeling chatty, so he challenged Mark to guess the answer to a riddle. He told Mark,
"If I had 4 eggs and a thief gave me 3, and my rooster laid 5 more, how many eggs do I have?"
Can you help Mark figure out the answer here? I'll get one thing out of the way. It's not a simple math problem. It doesn't work if you just add everything up. But here's the first problem. Roosters don't lay eggs, so those eggs are out of the equation. And then if you read correctly, The man said, "If I had 4 eggs," which means that he had 0 eggs to begin with. So, the correct answer is 3. The 3 eggs that the thief gave him. 4 prisoners from a high-security prison were taken to a deserted beach to do some community service. The warden wanted to have some fun, so he lined them up in a single-file line and separated prisoner A from the other 3 with the help of a brick wall. He gave each prisoner a hat, either black or white, without telling them which color they each got. In total, there were 2 black hats and 2 white hats. He told them that all prisoners would be sentenced to prison for life, except they could guess correctly which color of hat they had in under 10 minutes. The prisoners weren't allowed to confer with each other, and they weren't allowed to move around or change positions. They got super nervous, of course, but they had no other option than to play the game. Luckily, just before the clock struck 10 minutes, one of the prisoners guessed correctly their hat color. Can you guess which prisoner it was? P.S. There is only one correct answer. If you guessed prisoner C, then you got it right. Let's see why. This riddle can only be solved through a process of elimination, and 2 of the prisoners A and B, can be eliminated right off the bat. That's because neither one of them can see any of the other prisoners, so neither possesses any information with which to make a more certain guess. That just leaves us prisoners C and D. When prisoner D remains silent and doesn't take a guess, prisoner C deduces his own hair color. He deduces that he and prisoner B must be wearing different colored hats, and since prisoner B was wearing a white hat, he guessed he is wearing a black hat. Yikes! This fried my hat off. Betty was in her last year of high school and she decided to take photography as an extracurricular activity. For her latest assignment, she needed to take an urban picture and present it to the class. However, since Betty was also organizing a big graduation trip, she didn't have time to do the assignment. Instead, she decided to Photoshop an image and show it in class. The teacher and students immediately saw that the picture wasn't real. How could they tell? Well, because that person over there has 2 heads. It looks pretty cool, but that's kind of a difficult phenomenon to find here on this planet. Three people decided to spend their vacations in Antarctica. Bianca had some trouble with the harsh weather, but felt it was worth it in the end. Pablo had a great time photographing the penguins for his social media page. And Helena got to do some fishing while she was there. On the last day of their trip, passing through airport security, one of them got caught trying to take a penguin with them in their backpack. Take a look at the picture. Can you tell who it was? Let's see what we have here. Well, is that a penguin's feet poking out of Helena's backpack? It sure is. Guess she did more than just fishing during her vacation. Yikes! December 5th is Bloomfield Town's Contest Day. For this year, the mayor picked bakery as the theme, so contestants needed to bake the best dessert to win. The only rule was that the bakers couldn't use sugar in their recipes, only natural sweeteners. When the mayor went to judge the 4 finalists and pick the best dessert, he immediately disqualified one of the bakers, saying they had cheated. And he did that without even tasting the desserts. Take a look at the contestants and see if you can spot the cheater. Look at the third woman in the row. Her cake is literally covered in powdered sugar. She was disqualified because she broke the no sugar rule.
Hey, hungry for some new riddles? Okay, here they are. Let's start with this uncomfortable situation that happened on an airplane. On a flight from Denver to San Diego, a flight attendant noticed a woman in an orange jumpsuit. "You're a prisoner!" she screamed, and she was about to report it. "No, no!" the passenger exclaimed. "It's just a costume. I'm heading to a cosplay convention." Who do you think is right? I'd believe the passenger. She's headed to San Diego, and there are many cosplay conventions there. But also, look, her jumpsuit looks new, as if it hasn't been worn. But more importantly, there is a ticket to the convention lying by her side. Tom is about to cross a railroad bridge when he spots a big truck right in front of the underpass. It's not moving. Tom stops and asks the driver what happened. The truck is 1 inch higher than the indicated height of the underpass," the driver says. "Unfortunately, this is the only road to my destination, and I am not sure what to do now. I must make the delivery on time, and the clock is ticking." What can the driver do to get through the underpass fast? The truck driver can let some air out of the tires, just enough to make the truck an inch lower. Sam and James are best friends, and they both are on a school basketball team. They always make bets, and today's bet is the following. "Listen, dude, I bet $10 that I can predict the score of the game before it starts," says James. Sam accepts. Soon enough, he passes James his $10. How come? The score before the game is always 0-0. That's what James said. Here's another bet, but you need to think outside the box to find the solution. Alex was at a carnival and went to a magician's booth. The man told Alex, "If I write your exact height on this piece of paper, you'll have to give me $5. If I make a mistake, I will pay you $10. Alex agreed and then lost his $5. How did the magician win the bet? Especially since he's just a fraud and has no magical powers whatsoever. The magician handed Alex the paper, and here's what was written on it: your exact height. Maybe it's a bit unfair, but very precise. A local police department got a call. Someone reported that a big robot was roaming the city, crashing everything around. After a bit of digging, the police traced the robot's creator, a scientist living on the outskirts of the city. Here's what the scientist said. "I created that robot, but I didn't mean any harm. Today it just went crazy and wouldn't listen to me. I've been trying to stop it, but nothing works." Luckily, the police managed to capture the robot. Now they have to figure out what to do with the scientist. Did he really try to stop the robot, or was this just his evil plan? What do you think? Look, the switch on the robot's body is in the off position, yet the robot still functions. It means the scientist indeed tried to turn it off and is probably telling the truth. Now, let's train your eyes a bit. We're in a city of superheroes, and almost every house here is owned by some well-known superhero. I'll show you different interiors, and you have to figure out who the house belongs to. Deal? Alright then, here's the first one. What's your guess? I bet you notice spider webs everywhere. Yes, it's Spider-Man's house. Here's the next one. What do you think? Does it ring a bell? Have you noticed those boots in the corner and a lasso? Yes, that's the residence of Wonder Woman. Let's move on to her neighbor's house. Who do you think it belongs to? Have you noticed this big hammer? Yeah, it's Thor's house. Okay, let's move on. Here's the interior of yet another house in the area. Can you guess who it belongs to? The scratches on the walls and couches hint at the one and only Wolverine. And here's the last one for today. Pay close attention and maybe you'll get it right. Well, the one living here is a patriot, with all those American flags all over the place. And there's a shield over there. Yes, of course, it's Captain America. Now, it's your turn to be a superhero. I'll show you two situations, and you'll have to decide who you need to save and who can manage on their own. You ready? Here's the first pair. Maya is running late and taking a shortcut on her way to school. Emily is driving to her aunt's house. Who should you save? Which one of them is in danger? Definitely Maya. Look, the shortcut is actually a frozen lake. But can you see the cracks? Yep, she might drown. Hurry up and save her. Good job. Now, there's a new pair for you, but only one of them needs your help. Tommy is walking to a birthday party and is texting while walking. Jaden is together with his friends. He's answering his girlfriend. Who is in danger? Both guys might fall into the maintenance hole on the way, but at least Jaden is with his friends. They'll probably notice the danger and warn him. Tommy is alone, so he might need your help. Riley is on vacation. She's on the beach getting tanned and enjoying the waves and the breeze. Chloe went on a camping trip to a local forest and stopped for some snacks. Who is in danger? It's Chloe. It's not safe to eat unknown berries. And these ones are definitely poisonous. Just look at the poor bird that obviously munched on those. You need to come and stop the girl. Okay, off to the next case. Liam is strolling through the city and Wendy is jogging in a local park. Who is in danger? A large tree branch is falling from a big height, and Liam is wearing headphones, so he won't hear a thing. He's the one who needs your help. Okay, here's your last superhero case, so look carefully. Leah and Mary went for a walk in the woods and encountered a bear. Long story short, the bear is now chasing them. Which one of them really needs your help? It's Mary. The girl is wearing heels, not the best choice of footwear since they will definitely slow her down. Hey, thanks for your help. Now here's another riddle. Keep your eyes wide open and use your logic. Melanie isn't doing well in school, so she is grounded for all winter holidays. She's supposed to study the whole time. But luckily for her, her mother often works night shifts. So every now and then, she isn't at home. Of course, Melanie sneaks out to see her friends. She tries to be very careful so that her mother doesn't notice anything. But one early morning, her mom comes back home and realizes that Melanie sneaked out of the house at night. How did she figure it out? Look, Melanie's car is the only one in the neighborhood that's not covered in snow. It means she used it not so long ago. So I can see that you can connect the dots well. I have another task for you. You see, there are a few suitcases that got lost at an airport. I'll show you what's inside, and you'll have to guess the professions of those who the suitcases belong to. Deal? Okay, here's the first one. What's the profession of its owner? This one definitely belongs to a ballerina. Perfect! Here's the second one. What do you say? It must be a photographer's suitcase. Good job! Here's more, and it's harder. Any ideas? Well, I'd say it belongs to an architect. The fourth suitcase is coming your way. Take a look. Okay, what's your call? This one probably belongs to a police officer. Great! What about this one? Yes, it must be a hairdresser suitcase. And here's the last one for today. Any ideas? I'd say it belongs to a pilot. That's it for today. Thanks for playing with me. You did well.
Neil was one of the best watchmakers in town. He got a call from the police station one day, asking him for help to solve a crime. 2 burglars were caught robbing shops in town. Amongst the things they stole, there were 2 watches. One of the burglars claimed that the watch they stole was a fake, so the police contacted Neil to see if that was really true. Take a look at both watches. Can you help Neil figure out which one is fake and which one is real? The watch on the left is a fake. If you look closely, you'll see that the miniature arm is too long, so it can't pass around the entire clock when it moves. Maya was an undercover police officer. On a Saturday night, she was off duty and decided to go to the movies. When she arrived, she saw 2 women who looked pretty suspicious. She remembered that the police were tracking down a girl who had escaped from prison the week before. Take a look at both women. Can you tell if one has escaped prison recently? It's the lady on the left. Her prison uniform is peeking through her coat. I mean, she should have at least changed clothes by now, right? Beth arrived at school and one of her best friends showed her a picture. She told Beth that if she got the answer correctly, she would get a week's supply of free chocolate. The friend said that one of the people in the picture wasn't human. Can you help Beth figure out the answer? It's the boy in the middle. He doesn't have a shadow, which means he's definitely not human. Ruby was traveling around India when she decided to stop for some tea. As soon as she walked inside the tea shop, the owner placed 2 teapots in front of her. He told her she would get a free cup of tea if she could figure out his riddle. He told her that the first teapot contained enough tea for 40 cups and asked to figure out, just by looking at the pot, how many cups of tea it could carry inside. Take a look at the image. Can you help Ruby figure out the answer? This is a tricky one. Probably the second teapot can only carry around 20 cups of tea. If you look closely, you'll see that the outlets of the first teapot is located in the middle of the pot. But the outlet of the second pot is located right at the bottom, so even if the pot is taller, it can't hold more water than the first one. After water hits the level of the outlet, it'll just start overflowing. Mary was walking in an enchanted forest when she met Randy, a magical unicorn. Mary asked the unicorn for some information, but he refused to talk to her unless she solved one of his riddles. He was a trickster and liked confusing people with his riddles. He told Mary that in a nearby field there were tigers and sheep. Usually one tiger could catch 3 sheep in 3 minutes. So he asked her how long it would take for 100 tigers to catch 100 sheep. Can you help Mary figure out the answer? It would still take 3 minutes because each tiger is still catching 1 sheep in 3 minutes. It doesn't matter if it's 3 tigers or 100. The unicorn was surprised by Mary's abilities and gave her another riddle to solve. He asked her to name the 5 days of the week without saying Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, etc. She also couldn't say whether it was the first day of the week or the last. What do you think Mary answered here? She said the day before yesterday, yesterday, today, tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow. Clever girl, huh? Brianna was traveling on business, and her company put her in one of the best hotels in town. She arrived from work late at night, exhausted. She was getting ready to go to bed when she heard a knock on the door. When she looked through the peephole, she saw a man standing outside. The man said he was sorry for bothering her, but the hotel database had crashed and he needed to recheck some of her information. Brianna said she would be back in a moment, got away from the door, and called security. She said there was someone in the hotel trying to rob her. Take a look at the image. How did she know the man was a robber? Look at the man's name tag. It's a female name. He is surely not the real hotel manager. Luca decided to throw a party for his best friends. He invited over 20 people to the party, but he only bought 9 candies. He told his friends he would leave the candies inside a pretty little box, and they could each get 1 candy. 9 people took 9 candies, but 1 candy was still in the box. How could that be possible? It's pretty simple. The last person took the candy and the box. This way, 1 candy remained in the box. Noah reported to the police that someone had stolen his red motorbike the previous night, right out of his garage. The police started to search for it and tracked 3 main suspects. Take a look at them. Which one stole Noah's motorbike? It's this guy on the right. Look closely. His motorbike is painted, but the paint is dripping and one can spot the old red color. He must have stolen it and painted it in a different color so as not to attract any attention. But you caught him. It's the finale of the Big Money Buzz Show, and Natalie is faced with a difficult task. There are 3 fish bowls, each one of them containing a different amount of gold bars inside. If she manages to put her hand inside one of the bowls and take it out, she can keep the gold bar. The first bowl has scalding hot water inside of it. The second is filled with flesh-burning acid. And the last bowl has a couple of venomous scorpions walking around. Which bowl should she choose? Natalie should just wait until the water cools down and grab the gold bar from the first bowl. Smart, huh? Bobby was blindfolded and put into a shaky van. When he woke up, he was alone in a dark, empty room. There was nobody there, but there were 3 envelopes on the floor. A post-it on top of the envelope said, "Each envelope contains a red capsule and 2 statements. In one of these envelopes, both statements are false. In another envelope, both statements are true. You have to choose the correct capsule to get out of this alive." He opened the first envelope, saw a capsule and the message, 1. Don't eat this candy. 2. Take the candy from the second envelope. On the second envelope, the note said, 1. Don't take the candy from the first envelope. 2. Take the candy from the third envelope. And the last envelope said, 1. Don't eat this candy. 2. Take the candy from the first envelope. Which capsule should Bobby take? He should trust the candy from the third envelope. Let's see why. The first message of the first envelope is true, while the second is false. Both messages from the second envelope are true. This leaves us with 2 false statements on the third envelope. The manager of a gift shop got a call from the police station. The police told him there was a burglar on the loose. He dressed up as the Joker and was robbing local shops. But since it was Halloween, a lot of people were walking dressed up as the Joker. At that moment, 4 Jokers entered the shop. The manager got suspicious, so he made the people stand in a line while he examined which one of them was the criminal. Take a look at the image. Can you guess which Joker is the real thief? The thief is the second Joker on the left. Take a look at his shoes. They're much bigger than the other shoes. He must be hiding something inside of it.
So Bobby arrives at the railway station to go visit Granny. The train takes 3 seconds to enter a tunnel which is 1 mile long. If it's traveling at the speed of 120 miles per hour, how long will it take to pass completely through the tunnel? "120 miles per hour means 2 miles per minute, so it will take the train 30 seconds to travel 1 mile, plus 3 more seconds to enter the tunnel, making it a total of 33 seconds. 9 years ago, Bobby was 9 years old. How old will he be in 9 years? If Bobby was 9 years old 9 years ago, it means he's currently 18 years old. Thus, in another 9 years, he will be 27 years old. On the train, Bobby gets hungry and pulls some snacks out of his bag. He has a chocolate bar that consists of 2 rows of 8 square pieces each. He can break this bar vertically or horizontally. He wants to break it so that each square piece is separate. How many times does he need to break the bar to make it happen? Two times 8 equals 16. So if we separate each chocolate piece, we'll get a total of 16 pieces. Thus, you need to break the bar 15 times. Bobby arrives at the village. He's walking toward Granny's house. Suddenly, Bobby notices that her neighbor has a new angry dog. It's fastened to a tree. But the chain is long enough for the dog to reach the gate of Grandma's house. How can Bobby reach the gate? Bobby should run around the tree in circles. The dog will follow him and eventually get wrapped around the tree. After that, the gates will be out of the dog's reach. Bobby enters Granny's house. Can you spot 3 mistakes in this picture? The woman in the portrait is missing a shoe. It can't be sunrise at 12 p.m. And Grandma has a rat hiding in a ball of yarn. Granny shows Bobby her new parrot. Can you find its shadow? Only the 4th shadow is correct. Granny asked Bobby to paint her living room. Can you find 5 words in the newly painted room? The first word is bush. Here's the word paint. The third word is owl, and it's hiding over here. Bucket is the fourth word, and the fifth word, broom, is over here. Bobby hears the doorbell ring. He opens the door and sees 3 grandmas with treats. These ladies are neighbors who came for tea, but one of them isn't human. Can you guess who? The first grandma is an imposter. Take a closer look. She has 3 hands. Granny invites over her friends, Telma and Violet. They're having a tea party with Bobby. He leaves the table for a couple of minutes and then returns. He takes a sip of tea and realizes that someone has added chili to his beverage. He questions the ladies. Granny says, "I was cutting the cake in the kitchen." Violet says, "I was watching the TV in the living room all the time." Telma says, "I was taking pictures of your cat in the hallway." Who's lying? Violet. There's no TV in the living room. Grandma's cat hid somewhere inside the house. Can you help Bobby catch it? The cat is in this locker. Later that day, Granny asked Bobby to help her with canning some fruits and vegetables. Eventually, she gets tired and goes to bed. Bobby promises to finish everything by himself. Oh no, he lost the recipe. Bobby only remembers that there should be an odd number of identical ingredients: 1, 3, 5, and so on. Which ingredient doesn't belong here? Garlic. What about this set of ingredients? Can you sort any of them out? There are 6 cherries. Goodbye. What can you say about these fruits? Apricots don't belong here. Bobby runs out of jars, so he goes to the barn to grab some more. Unfortunately, Granny put a combination lock on the barn door. Bobby looks around and finds a note with a hint. Can you help him crack the code? The code is not that simple. You need to count the number of boards on each wall, and the resulting password is 7954. Bobby is helping Granny to organize some boxes in the barn. Can you count which stack has the biggest number of boxes? It's the first one. Bobby is trying to organize Granny's tea jars. Can you figure out which stack is bigger? This stack has the largest number of jars. And now Bobby's task is to spot the largest stack of pots. Can you help him? It's the third stack. Bobby's Granny knows a little magic. She gives him a task to mark these 6 bottles with her potions. Can you help him? It's pretty simple. The bottles have some hints. The first bottle is filled with some teeth-whitening syrup, and the second one with frog broth. The third bottle is filled with super-strength tea, and the fourth has an eternal love potion. The fifth bottle is for endless wealth, and the sixth one contains some freezing fluid. It turns out that Bobby's grandma has a dragon egg in her barn. It's very rare and expensive. That's why she hid it among toy eggs. So only one of these 7 eggs isn't fake. Grandma asked Bobby to find it. Here's a hint. It should have some pink color on it, and there are no bubbles on the shell. Also, the egg isn't in the middle, and it's not next to the blue egg. So, where's the dragon egg? Only this one matches the description completely. Bobby leaves the dragon egg in the living room by the fireplace to keep it warm. Finally, he goes to sleep. The next morning, he finds out that the egg is hatched. Can you help Bobby find the little dragon? It's over here on the shelf. Suddenly, the doorbell rings. Bobby opens the door and sees 2 gardeners. One of them is an imposter from another planet. Can you guess who? It's the guy on the left. He doesn't have any ears. Oh no! Bobby asks the imposter to leave. Instead, he pushes Bobby, runs into the house, and steals the little dragon. The thief escapes to the forest. Bobby is chasing him. He comes across these 3 routes. There's a family of bears hanging out on the first route. The second path is enchanted by a wicked wizard. Any animal or bird who dares to walk this route turns into stone. And the third route is infested with sick ticks. Which way is more or less safe? The second way is good to go. The spell only works on animals and birds, not on people. Bobby finds the thief's spaceship in the field. He sees the dragon in a cage nearby. Can you help Bobby crack the 4-digit code to unlock the cage? The note nearby is a hint. Earth is the 3rd planet from the Sun. Mercury is the first one, Mars is the 4th, and Venus is the 2nd. So the code is 3142. Bobby rescues the dragon and brings it back to Granny. He decides to go home by car. The entire trip will take him 100 miles. First of all, he drives 30 miles to a gas station and fills his tank fully. Then he drives another 15 miles until he reaches the car service center. After that, Bobby drives 20 more miles and makes a stop near a small hotel. That's when Bobby realizes that he has already used up exactly 1/2 of the gas tank. What do you think he should do? Keep on driving home or turn around to the gas station? It takes exactly 35 miles to reach Bobby's home. And if we count how many miles ago Bobby was at the gas station, it's 35 as well. It means that the gas in Bobby's car will run out exactly at the moment when he arrives home. So he definitely shouldn't go back to the gas station.
Serena is a private investigator. This year, she decided to spend her vacation at a fancy ski resort. Serena arrives at the main gates and takes a look at the entrance. Then, she turns around to tip her taxi driver. After that, she returns to the gates and spots 3 changes. Can you also see them? Here they are. Serena enters the hotel. 3 porters offer to carry her bags. But one of them cannot help Serena with her luggage. Can you guess who and why? The guy in the middle has transparent hands that go through the walls. He's a ghost. So it's unlikely he'll be able to carry Serena's physical baggage. Serena approaches the reception desk. She's checking in along with 3 other people.
Hello.
Serena takes a look at her passports and immediately spots the fake one. What about you? The second guy's picture is black and white, but it's not a crime. The third lady's document also looks fine, but the picture of the first lady has snow-capped mountains in the background. No matter what country she's from, the background in the passport photo should be plain. So this ID is fake.
Yeah.
Finally, Serena receives a key card for her room. She goes there right away, but unfortunately, the door doesn't open. Serena returns to the reception to complain. She sees another lady complaining about the very same thing. Can you guess what's going on here? Remember the room number on Serena's key? It's 981. If we turn this number upside down, we'll get 186. The manager confused these two keys. The ladies should simply exchange the keys, and the incident will be over.
Okay.
Finally, Serena enters her fancy suite. She takes a couple of pictures to send them to her friend. Can you find 10 differences between them? Feel free to stop the video if you need more time. Are you ready to see the answers? Here are all 10 differences. Serena unpacks her bags to go skiing. Oh no! She forgot her hat at home. Serena goes to the local winter sports store to purchase a new hat. Which items don't belong here? This toy robot, high heel sandals, and a plastic pyramid shouldn't be here. After shopping, Serena decides to visit the local bakery. Can you spot any extra items here? This can of pet food and a dog bowl doesn't belong here, as well as this cat tree.
Ah.
Finally, Serena is in her ski suit. She's riding in a cable car to the top of the mountain with other resort guests. Can you spot the one who hasn't paid for the lift? I bet this little mouse didn't pay for the ride. The fire alarm wakes Serena up in the middle of the night. One of the cottages on the territory of the ski resort caught fire.
Oh no.
Luckily, all the guests and staff members are safe. Serena finds 3 suspects. One of these people started the fire for sure. Can you guess who? It's the guy in the bathrobe. He's hiding a bottle of fire starter liquid in his pocket.
Oh my god.
In the morning, Serena goes to the breakfast buffet. There are 4 croissants on the tray. One of them is made of plastic.
Oh.
Can you spot which one? Someone has bitten off the first croissant, so it's probably real. The third croissant was a little burnt, so it's real dough. Take a closer look at the 4th croissant. Some chocolate leaked out of it onto the plate, so it must be real too. Therefore, only the 2nd croissant can be plastic.
Oh.
Serena starts her breakfast. A young lady named Maya is eating with her husband, not far from Serena's table. Suddenly, Maya gets sick and faints.
Oh my God.
Her husband calls doctors and they arrive immediately. They conclude that Maya has eaten something poisonous. The husband says, "It's impossible. My wife didn't eat or drink anything today except for the breakfast on this table. I ate it too, and I feel fine." The doctors test the food, and surprisingly, it's perfectly fine.
Oh.
Serena has already cracked this mystery. What about you? The poison was in Maya's lip balm. Serena suspects that Maya's husband poisoned her, so she decides to follow him to find some evidence. He enters his hotel room for a moment and then leaves. Serena sneaks into the room. She finds nothing suspicious except a hotel notebook. Someone tore out exactly one page from it. Fortunately, the writer pressed the pen very hard and left traces on the next page. Serena shades the paper with a pencil and reveals the following text. Can you help her decode this message? If we read this text backwards, we'll get Maya is in the hospital. Finish the job.
Oh my god.
Serena rushes to the hospital to get ahead of the criminal. She enters Maya's room and faces 4 clowns. One of them is the criminal, and the rest are just actors who perform all over the hospital to uplift the patients. Can you spot the imposter? The guy with the red bow is the criminal. He sneaked it from the decorations in this room because he was rushing to disguise himself.
Oh.
Serena calls the hospital guards to arrest the imposter, but he pushes everyone away and escapes through the back door. Serena follows him and ends up in the parking lot. The criminal is hiding in one of these cars.
Come to me.
Can you find him? These 3 single cars seem empty and they don't have any signs of break-in. Meanwhile, someone is moving in the back of this pickup truck. Busted! The police arrest the criminal and Maya's husband. Meanwhile, Serena returns to the hotel late at night to get some rest. Oh no! Her room is a mess! Someone clearly rummaged through her things.
What's this?
In the morning, Serena questions 3 suspects. The cleaning lady says, "Yesterday afternoon, I changed your bed sheets, washed coffee stains off the carpet, and left." The manager says, "I sent a repairman to fix the sink in your bathroom, but I myself didn't enter." The repairman says,
Last night I visited your room to fix the sink. Your stuff was all over the place, but I just thought you were a messy person.
"Who's lying?" The cleaning lady. She said she had removed the coffee stains from the carpet, but they're still here. Serena lands on a chair in the hotel lounge to sign a stack of postcards for her friends. Suddenly, she smells hot chocolate from the cafeteria. She goes there to order a cup for herself. In a couple of minutes, Serena returns to her chair. Oh no! The postcards are gone. She questions 3 people nearby. Mike says,
I was reading a book all the time, so I didn't look around.
Richard says,
I was taking pictures of my girlfriend Stella. You can take a look if you don't believe me.
and Stella says,
Richard is telling the truth. I was posing for the camera. Why would I pay attention to your stuff?
After hearing their stories, Serena knows for sure who's guilty. What about you? Take a closer look at Richard's pictures. Stella is in front of a fireplace. If we zoom in, we'll see the postcards in the fire. These liars use them to make the flame burn brighter and look better in the pictures.
What?
Richard apologizes and buys a new stack of postcards for Serena. She grabs one of them and writes the following rebus on it. Can you crack the meaning of this message? To infinity and beyond. Serena is having small talk with Mike. She asks about his hobbies. Instead of answering, Mike draws the following rebus. Can you crack it? He likes to swim underwater. Serena says, I see you like puzzles. Crack my riddle and I'll get you a huge cup of hot chocolate. Mike agrees. Here's the riddle. The task is to replace the question mark with the correct letter. The letters imply the last letter of the sum of these numbers. 3 times 6 is 18, so the answer is N. 3 times 7 is 21, so the answer is E, and so on. 3 times 0 is 0. That's why we should replace the question mark with 0.
Alrighty, here's the new portion of mind-bending riddles for you, quick-witted detective. Find that magnifying glass of yours, and let's get to work.
Yeah.
Tom disappeared at 10 p.m. on Friday in the fall. A police officer questioned his 4 friends. She suspected one of them had something to do with this disappearance. She asked them all what they had been doing at the time. Adam said he had been choosing an outfit for a date. Daniel was getting ready for a party, which was to take place at his apartment. Sophia said she had been relaxing by doing yoga before her night shift at work. And Jake was watching birds in the park. After questioning the suspects, the police officer arrested one of Tom's friends. Who was it? It was Jake. At 10 p.m. in the fall, it's too dark to see birds outside. Imagine being stuck in Antarctica. You're starting to run out of food, so you decide to scan your surroundings. The snow is so bright, it's literally blinding. At one point, you come across a large fragment of bone with a wide crack enough to fit a knife. You think the bone might come in handy later and take it with you. What's the best way to use it? Crack it and use it as your second knife? Make an eyewear mask? Make a flute to distract yourself from this dire situation? You should choose the second option. An eyewear mask can protect you from a big problem: snow blindness. Sunlight is reflected off the snow and ice in Antarctica and is likely to cause serious eye problems. Okay, this time you're trapped in a large abandoned castle. The lights are out, and there seems to be nobody around. You see 3 doors leading out of the creepy castle to safety. But behind the first door, there's a room filled with venomous snakes and spiders. Behind the second door, there's a sheer drop with sharp spikes at the bottom. And the third door opens to an electrified moat. Which door will you risk going through? Surprisingly, the safest option is the third door. You see, the castle is abandoned, and since nobody has lived there for years, there isn't likely to be electricity. The likelihood of the moat still being electrified is very, very small. You'll be able to swim across the moat safely. Let's say that in some mysterious way, you find yourself in a battle arena. 3 creatures are waiting for you, and you need to fight one of them to survive. The first monster has the head of a rattlesnake and the body of a giant ferret. The second one has the body of a gorilla and the head of an alligator. And the third creature has the face and body of a great white shark and the tail and claws of a bear. So, which monster would you choose? The first 2 monsters would be extremely dangerous opponents. Imagine how agile and venomous the snake ferret could be. And the gorilla gator would be too strong for you to defeat. As for the shark bear, you know that sharks have gills and can't breathe on land. So you just need to wait a bit, and this opponent would get out of your way on its own. Imagine a robber is trying to enter your house. You can only defend yourself through the letterbox in your door while they're trying to sneak a peek inside your house. What kind of defense would you choose? A tarantula and a 4-foot-long stick? A 3-foot-long bamboo pole and some frozen peas? Or a leaf blower, elastic band, empty paper roll, and several dozen fire ants? problem with the stick is that it's too short, and there's a chance that the tarantula will get back to you. Uh-oh. Sending frozen peas into the robber's face probably won't be enough to stop the criminal. So, pick the third option. The leaf blower will send the ants into the thief's face through the paper roll, and it will most likely scare the criminal away. How about this mystery? A girl was 10 on her last birthday, but she will be 12 on her next birthday. How is it possible? Well, the girl is celebrating her 11th birthday today. At school, in one of the classes, there were 4 pairs of twins. One day, all the students came to a school event with their parents, and it turned out that there were 85 people in total. Can you figure out how many students there are in the class? Since each pair of twins most likely have different parents, 4 pairs of twins and their parents make up 16 people. The remaining 69 people are ordinary students and their parents. Each of the non-twin students has 2 parents, so the number of non-twin students is 23. So in total, there are 31 students in the class. Stephen called the police to report his valuables were missing. When the police arrived, the man told him his story. "I went on a camping trip alone. I just got there and set up my tent when it started to rain heavily. I hurried to find some dry firewood. I left my bag with my wallet and all the documents inside the tent. When I came back, everything was gone." The police officers didn't believe Stephen and fined him for making a false call. How did they understand the man was lying? Stephen said he had set up the tent before it started to rain. But then, why is there a big puddle inside? Two friends, Anne and Mary, went for a walk. Suddenly, it started to rain heavily. The girls saw a seemingly abandoned house and decided to take shelter there. When it stopped raining, the friends realized they were very hungry. So they went different ways to find some food. Anne saw an apple tree and immediately ate an apple. All of a sudden, she turned into a tree herself. Half an hour later, Mary got to the same spot, searching for fruit and her friend. That's when she heard someone say, "Your friend has been turned into a tree. You must find this tree to bring her back. You only have one chance. If you get it wrong, your friend will remain a tree forever." Mary was terrified. Can you help her find out which tree is her friend? To crack this riddle, you need to think outside the box. Since it rained half an hour ago, all the trees in the forest are wet. The only tree that isn't wet is Mary's friend Anne. Now you need to figure out the logic in the order of the following words: fun, blue, bee, more, dive, picks, barren, date, shrine, then. Actually, it's not hard at all as soon as you say these words out loud one by one. You'll immediately notice that every word rhymes with the number that specifies its numerical order. Fun 1, blue 2, bee 3, and so on. On a beautiful sunny morning, a vampire woke up pretty early and went to the bathroom to shave. He was in the middle of the process when he noticed in the mirror that he had cut himself. He had to go and look for his first aid kit. What's wrong with this story? Well, the main problem is that vampires don't reflect in mirrors. Look at this picture closely. Can you guess who this cute puppy belongs to? A little hint. Pay attention to all the details. You never know what can help you. The dog's owner is the boy in the middle. He's the only one who isn't trying to pet the puppy. And now, can you figure out what's wrong in this picture? Once again, pay attention to the tiniest details. Tick-tock, your time is running out. The wrong detail in this picture is this colorful parrot. How did the bird get there? Parrots aren't known for their love of winter.
Sir Lionel was a very rich man with many servants working in his mansion. One day, as he was about to go on a business trip, his night watchman warned him not to board his flight.
I had a dream last night that something bad will happen on that plane.
Sir Lionel got annoyed at first, but since he was also a bit superstitious himself, he decided not to take the flight. Later that day, as he was watching the news, he saw that his plane did get lost on a deserted island. He first thanked his employee and then fired him. Why? Because as a night watchman, he's not supposed to be sleeping on the job. Eduardo was walking to his home late at night when he suddenly heard an evil laugh and was magically transported to a peculiar reality show as a contestant. The evil presenter showed him 3 doors. Behind the first door, there was a room filled with venomous spiders. The second door opened to a chamber containing toxic gas. The third door revealed a space with the floor covered in sharp shards of glass. In which room will he have a better chance to survive? He should pick the room with the floor covered in shards of glass. See? He has his boots on. Those can protect him from getting hurt. Late at night, Detective Forsyth was patrolling a quiet neighborhood when he heard a scream coming from one of the houses. Rushing to the scene, he found a group of friends gathered, and one of them, Manny, claimed he had just seen a ghost in the backyard. Forsyth questioned each friend to determine the truth. Lola said she had been reading a book in the living room. Joyce claimed she had been cooking in the kitchen. Emily mentioned she had been taking a nap in the bedroom. And Manny, the one who saw the ghost, insisted he had been gardening in the backyard. Detective Forsyth quickly identified the liar. Who was it and why? It was Manny. His claim of gardening in the backyard was false because it was late at night. And if you take a closer look, there are no garden lights to illuminate the area. So, no one would be gardening in the dark. You are listening to your favorite radio program, I'm a Survivor, in which one of the listeners who participates in the weekly questions gets a chance to win $5,000. This week, you finally decided to try your chance. So, you call the program and the host gives you your question. In which situation do you have more chances to survive? If you're falling from a 10-story building, or if you find yourself surrounded by a swarm of bees. Can you win the $5,000? The bees buzzing around you might not be aggressive and might not cause you any harm. But when you're falling from that kind of height, unless you're Spider-Man or something, Professor Orion was an eccentric scientist who had a collection of enchanted doors in his laboratory. Each door led to a different dimension. He wanted to invite his friend, Beth, to his laboratory, but first, he needed to make sure she was worthy of exploring the realms beyond with him. So, he asked her this riddle. I fly without wings, I cry without eyes. Wherever I go, darkness follows me. What am I? Do you know the answer? The correct answer is cloud. Jason was about to graduate, but his faith was going to be determined by whether or not he could pass his algebra test. When he got his exam paper, this was the only question his professor asked. If it takes 30 men 30 minutes to dig 30 holes, how many minutes does it take one man to dig one hole? Can you help Jason graduate? It takes one man 30 minutes to dig one hole. Rose bought an old mirror from the antique store. But when she brought it home, the mirror pulled her inside and transported her into a magical castle with no escape. After checking every room to find an exit, Rose discovered 3 doors in the dungeon that could help her go back home. However, behind the first door, there was a raging fire. Behind the second door, there were thousands of venomous scorpions. And behind the third door, there was a pitch-dark maze filled with underground holes one could easily fall into. Which door should Rose choose? She should choose the third door. See the wood branches on the floor? She can take one and turn it into a torch and go through the maze. This way she can see the holes and avoid them. In the town of Puzzleville, Master Albert held an annual event known as the Night of Riddles. Every year, when the clock struck midnight, he asked the crowd one particular riddle, and the one who could answer it correctly would be crowned the Riddler's Apprentice. This year, he asked, what is the one question you cannot truthfully answer yes to? Can you answer it and win that title? The answer is, are you asleep yet? As Nicole was driving across a road at night, her phone's battery ran out. Unfortunately, she forgot to take her charger with her and there was nowhere she could get a new one. So she got lost without being able to use the Maps app. The road in front of her split up into 3 smaller roads and there was a sign at each of them. The first sign said, Toxic Swamp ahead. The second sign said, Werewolves ahead. And the third one said, Active Volcano ahead. Which one should she pick? It might be a cloudy night, but you can still catch a glimpse of the moon, which is not full. So she should pick the second road, since werewolves won't be there during this time of the month at least. In the futuristic city of Cyber Harbor, people communicate through holographic messages. Xander received a hologram from an anonymous sender with a cryptic riddle. Only if he could answer the riddle correctly that the sender's identity would be revealed to him. What is always in front of you but can't be seen? Can you help Xander discover the true identity of the sender? The answer is the future. Ernest and William are 2 logicians. They both pick a whole number from 1 to 30 inclusive. The following conversation occurs between them. Ernest: is your number double mine? William:
I don't know. Is your number double mine?
Ernest: I don't know. Is your number half mine? William:
I don't know. Is your number half mine?
Ernest: I don't know. William:
I know your number.
Considering all the statements are true, What is the number Ernest picked, and how did William know? The correct answer is 4. From their first exchange, we know that William's number is even. Otherwise, he would have known that it couldn't be the double of a number. From the second exchange, we know that Ernest's number is a multiple of 4. Otherwise, he would know that it couldn't be the double of an even number. From the third exchange, we know that William's number is 14 or less. Otherwise, he would know that it couldn't be half of the largest possible multiple of 4. From the fourth exchange, we know that Ernest's number must be 4. Otherwise, if it were 8 or more, he would know it couldn't be half of a number that's 14 or less. And the only possible multiple of 4 that's less than 8 is 4. Andy and Bernie were trapped on an island, surrounded by swift currents. Luckily, they heard the thrum of a helicopter, but before it passed them by, they needed to attract the pilot's attention to save themselves. They had to use mirrors or flashlights. Just as they were losing hope, Bernie had a brilliant idea. Soon after, the helicopter spotted them and rescued them. How did Bernie do it? Look at all the tropical, large, colorful leaves and flowers around. He used them to create a makeshift SOS sign on the ground. Hey, Brightsider, you're going to have loads of adventures in 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
So, you just wanted to go on an exotic vacation, but you ended up inside an Egyptian pyramid, and it's full of spooky mummies. The only way to get back home is to solve these riddles.
Yeah.
You've fallen down a tunnel, which means you can't go back the same way.
Uh-oh.
There are 3 doors in front of you with snakes, scorpions, and scarabs behind each of them, respectively.
Uh-oh.
You need to choose the safest one. Hopefully, you know that scarabs are harmless, so you should pick the 3rd door. Soon, you spot 3 mummies, but just one of them is real.
Uh-oh.
Which one? Look at the 3rd one. There's a mummy bug on its leg, so it must be the real mummy. This mummy, which turns out to be indeed real, wants to test you. You have to answer its questions correctly to get out of the pyramid. And here's the first riddle. Why was an Egyptian kid confused? That's because their daddy was a mummy. What do you call Ryan Gosling disguised as a mummy? Ryan Gosling, of course. Why do mummies like Christmas? Because there are so many gifts and wrappings. That's why. You're finally free and can see your friends. Uh-oh, bad news. One of them is possessed, but you don't know which one it is. You can't bring them back home in such a state, so you gotta find out who is in trouble. This guy has red eyes, but it might be because he hasn't slept all night, worrying about you. Your second friend has a weird green glowing aura around her. Can it be that sandwich she has in her pocket? It's surely gone bad, but look at this guy. His mouth looks weird. The right half is smiling when the left one isn't. Plus, his fingers seem to be dislocated. This is the friend possessed by a mummy spirit. Now how about some short riddles you need to crack very fast? Ready? Let's start.
Yeah.
He has 1, a human has 2, a citizen has 3, population has 4, and personality has 5. What am I talking about? Syllables. Why is it so easy to weigh fish? Because they have scales. It can fly but has no wings. It can cry but has no eyes. Wherever it goes, darkness is following it. What is it? It's a cloud. I have one, you have one. If you remove the first letter, a bit is still there. Remove the second, and the bit remains. Try again and remove the third, but it stays. What is it we have? A habit. When you have it, you want to share it. But if you share it, you don't have it anymore. What is it? It's a secret. What kind of cup doesn't hold water? A cupcake. The more of them you take, the more you leave behind. What am I talking about? Footsteps. What did the thief get for stealing a calendar? "12 months. You measure its life in hours and minutes, and it serves you by expiring. It's quick when it's thin and slow when it's fat. Its biggest enemy is the wind. The longer it lives, the smaller it becomes. What is it? It's a candle. You can hear it, but you can't touch it. And still, you can control it. What is it? It's your voice. Add it to itself and multiply by 4. Then divide it by 8 and you'll have it once again. What number is it? It can be literally any number. What kind of coat can you put on only when it's wet? The answer is a coat of paint. John ordered a fishing rod that cost him only $5. The only problem is that he lives in a country with very strict import rules. They prohibit shipping any objects that are longer than 3 feet. But John's new fishing rod is a bit bigger than that. It's 3 feet and 3 inches long. How can it be mailed to the man in one piece without breaking the rules? The fishing rod can be put in a box that is 3 feet on all sides. Then, the fishing rod will easily fit within the diagonal of the box, with a lot of room to spare. Once, Mrs. Smith, Peter, Paul, and Patrick's mom heard a loud sound of shattering glass coming from the living room. She ran into the room and saw that her favorite vase was broken. She spotted a football. She asked her sons what had happened, and each of them told her his own version of the accident. Peter said that Paul hadn't kicked the ball. He added that he knew for sure that Patrick had done this. Paul said that Patrick wasn't guilty. He also added that he hadn't finished his homework. And Patrick said that Paul had broken the vase, and he knew for sure because Peter didn't play football at home. How can Mrs. Smith understand who broke the vase if the following is true? One boy lied in both of his statements. 2 boys told the truth. Have you noticed that only one of Paul's statements is related to the accident? The one in which he says that Patrick isn't guilty? What he says about his homework changes nothing. The first of Peter's statements contradicts Patrick's first words and vice versa. This means that it's impossible for both of the boys to tell the truth. Peter and Paul can't both tell the truth, as Paul's words contradict Patrick's second phrase. That's why Patrick and Paul can't lie, meaning that Peter lied in both his statements, which means that Paul broke the vase. Miranda is practicing her dance steps together with her friends. In a particular sequence, all of them form a row. At that point, Miranda is the 4th from either side of the row. Can you figure out how many girls are practicing together? In total, there are 7 girls. Miranda is the 4th from either end of the row, which means there are 3 girls on one side and 3 on the other. Marta got into a trap set by a powerful witch. The girl got locked in a jail cell, and the only thing that could probably help her escape was a special magic elixir. Marta found 3 jars. The liquid from the first one could turn her into a superwoman. The second jar contained the liquid that turned people into zombies. And if Marta drank the elixir from the third jar, she would turn into a vampire. The effect of each elixir could last for half an hour. Which of them should Marta drink? Marta could wait till the morning, drink the elixir from the third jar, and transform into a bat and fly out of that tiny window. In 2 years, this dog is going to be twice as old as it was 5 years ago. How old is the dog at the moment? The pooch is 12 years old. Mia is 3 times older than Anna. 3 years ago, Anna was a year younger than Amelia is now. Olivia is twice as old as Anna. Put the girls in order of their age. It goes like this: Mia, Olivia, Anna, and Amelia. Physicists have built devices to move it very fast. The last 7 letters of its name can usually be found in newspapers, magazines, and journals. Can you figure out what I'm talking about? A particle. Lewis and his friend Mark were playing basketball. Suddenly, their ball landed in the garden of Lewis's neighbor, a very unfriendly gentleman. An even more unfriendly dog was guarding that garden. Luckily, it was tied to a tree, but the ball fell too close to that tree. If the dog spotted Lewis, it would follow the guy's every step, And if the guy came close enough, the dog would bite him. How can Lewis get his ball back without getting hurt in the process? Lewis should walk around the tree, staying out of the dog's reach. The dog will keep following him until the entire length of the animal's leash is wrapped around the tree. Then, Lewis should grab his ball and run away. It's Lucy's birthday today. She ordered a cake, but unfortunately, the delivery guy brought the wrong one. Lucy goes to the pastry shop herself and asks to replace the cake. There are 3 cakes left in the fridge. Can you find the correct one? The first cake has a bride and groom figurine on top, so it's probably a wedding cake. The second cake is meant for another customer named Mary. Therefore, the third one belongs to Lucy. Lucy takes the cake and heads home. She's passing by an Italian restaurant. Can you spot a vampire hunter among these people? It's this chef with a garlic necklace. Finally, Lucy returns home. Some of her guests are already here. Her sister Stella, her college friend Anna, and her colleague Jessica. Lucy asks them to iron her new party dress and rushes to the shower to freshen up. Then she returns to the guests. The dress is perfectly ironed, but there's a huge blue stain on it. Can you figure out who put the stain on her dress? It was Jessica. She has blue ink on her hands because her pen was leaking. Lucy goes to her bedroom to find a new outfit for her party. Then she returns to the kitchen to check on the cake in the fridge. Oh no! Someone has bitten it! Lucy hasn't even blown the candles yet. Who's guilty? Take a look at the crime scene. There's a used fork with some red lipstick on it. Anna is the only one who's wearing red lipstick. The mystery is solved. Lucy gives Anna a postcard with the following text. Can you decode this rebus? You are under arrest. It's time to unwrap the gifts. Lucy's guests say, you have to crack our riddles to get the gifts. Riddle 1. I get shorter the more I'm used, but I'm not a pencil. I'm made of wax, but I'm not a crayon. I can help you see in the dark, but I'm not a flashlight. I'm often found on a birthday cake, but I'm not icing. What am I? I'm a candle. Lucy gets her first gift from Stella. The guys go ahead and invite Lucy to crack the next riddle. I can pop, but I'm not popcorn. Sometimes I have a string attached, but I'm not a kite. Sometimes I float, but I'm not a swimmer. I'm seen at birthday parties, but I'm not a candle. What am I? I'm a balloon. Lucy gets a bunch of balloons from Jessica. To get the third gift, Lucy needs to solve the following riddle. I bake, I rest, I come in different shapes, and I sometimes live with a flame on top of my head. What am I? I'm a cake. Suddenly, someone rings the doorbell. Lucy opens the door and sees 3 people in carnival masks. 2 of them are late guests of Lucy, but one of them is an imposter. Can you guess who? It's the person in the middle. He doesn't have any feet, and he's floating in the air. This guy must be a ghost! Lucy returns to the kitchen. Oh no! Someone popped the balloons. Let's have a look around. Jessica is trying to get rid of a stain on her clothes. Stella is lighting a candle, and Anna is finishing her pizza sitting right next to the balloons. Who's guilty? Anna is wearing a dress with spikes. They must have poked some holes in the balloons. It's time to blow out the candles. Lucy pours tea for all the guests. Then she leaves the table to have a brief phone call. Lucy returns and takes a sip of tea from her cup. Yikes, it's very salty. Lucy interrogates 3 people around the table. Stella says, "I didn't touch your cup. I was busy taking a selfie." Anna says, "I was cutting fruit, only your sister is capable of such a silly prank." And Jessica says, "I was in the bathroom, so I didn't see what was happening at the table." Who's lying? Anna, look! She's hiding the salt shaker in her dress. Anna admits that she was trying to destroy the party. She's turning 22 today, but everyone forgot about her birthday. Lucy wants to make amends. Take a look around and try to find a possible gift for Anna. Hey, Lucy's birthday cake still has unlit candles in the shape of numbers 2 and 5. Lucy can turn the 5 upside down, make the candles look like 22, and present them to Anna. Luckily, Anna forgives Lucy. Some of the guests start dancing. Suddenly, the light goes off for a second and then comes back on. Stella screams, "Someone stole one of my diamond earrings!" She questions 3 suspects. Lucy's boyfriend, Bill, says, "I was trying to film a TikTok dance when the lights went out." Anna says, "I'm afraid of the dark, so I just landed on the sofa." Lucy's coworker, Oliver, says, "I wanted to ask Stella to dance, but suddenly it became dark, so I just froze." Who stole the earring? No one. It just fell under this chair. Lucy decides to take some party pictures. Can you find 3 differences between these 2 pictures? Here they are. Let's see if you can find 3 differences between these pictures. Over here. Let's make the task a little harder. Can you spot 5 differences between these images? Here they are. Bill is an artist. He gives Lucy his painting as a birthday gift. What's wrong here? There's no river. Can you help Lucy distribute these party hats among her guests? Stella loves the color yellow, but she's not fond of green. Oliver doesn't like the color purple and stripes. Anna is allergic to flowers, but she loves stars. Jessica doesn't like the color yellow, and Bill is not fond of orange decor. The first hat is for Jessica, and the second one is for Stella. Anna should get the third hat, Bill the fourth one. And finally, the fifth hat is perfect for Oliver. Lucy and her guests run out of food, but they're still hungry. There's a pizza restaurant just next to Lucy's place. Bill decides to go there. He rushes over and bumps into another customer. Bill hits his head and forgets what pizza Lucy asked him to buy. He remembers just 3 things. The pizza topping shouldn't include more than 4 colors. It shouldn't have any onions. But it must have at least one green element. Can you help Bill find the correct pizza? Four-cheese pizza and margarita don't have any greenish elements, so we can exclude them. Mushroom pizza does have green olives, but it also has onions, as well as pineapple and jalapeno pizza. Goodbye! Only pepperoni pizza is in line with the assignment. Suddenly, Lucy hears someone ringing on the door. She opens and faces 2 dudes. They introduce themselves briefly. Peter says, "I'm the nephew of your next-door neighbor, Glenda. She sent me here to borrow a cup of sugar from Lucy." And Rick says,
I'm a delivery guy. Here's a birthday gift.
"Can you guess who the prankster is?" It's Rick. He doesn't know Lucy's name, which is weird for a delivery guy. I wouldn't risk opening this box. Lucy exposes Rick and returns to the kitchen. She discovers that someone has broken her favorite vase. Lucy interrogates 3 suspects. Bill says, "I was in the bathroom. I just returned and noticed the broken vase." Stella says, "I put roses in this vase about an hour ago, and I haven't approached it since." And Jessica says, "I was dancing in the living room. About 5 minutes ago, I heard the sound of breaking glass from the kitchen." Who's lying? Stella, take a closer look at the broken vase. No roses, only daisies. Monica decided to go on a solo vacation to Brazil. She was strolling along a deserted beach when some magical sea creature caught her by surprise. It took her to a cave at the bottom of the ocean, took all her stuff, and left her there. To escape, she had to go through one of 3 tunnels. The first tunnel had sharks swimming all over it. The second tunnel had poisonous underwater snakes. And the third tunnel had a pirate shipwreck. Which tunnel should she choose to go through? She should pick the third tunnel. Sure, it's a pirate ship, but it's already sunk and it won't pose any real threats. Anna decided to throw a costume party and invited all her friends. 2 couples decided to dress up as vampires, but one of these couples is made of real vampires. Take a look at the image. Can you tell me which one? It's the second couple. They are vampires. They don't have any reflection in the mirror, do they? On a murky water day, Jason woke up confused. He had bumped his head into a coral reef and woke up in another underwater kingdom. 3 mermaids took him in and helped him get better. When he finally opened his eyes and asked who they were, they all said they were his wife. Take a look at the image. Can you tell which mermaid is telling the truth? If you look closely, the third mermaid to the right is wearing a shellfish ring similar to the one that Jason is wearing. This must mean she's his real wife, and the other 2 mermaids were lying. In the Wizardry School of Ninth, students are getting ready for a philosophy test. They're pretty good at doing magic, but they haven't developed their theoretical skills too much. The teacher, Mrs. Woodland, prepared a relatively easy first question for them. It asked, "What is the phrase that makes you happy when you're sad and sad when you're happy?" The correct answer is It will be over soon. Yikes! On the same day of that test, Mandeline had a potion test. She was extremely nervous since she could never get the very difficult spells correctly. She got to the classroom and the teacher had left a few potion bottles for her to label. Take a look at the bottles and the tags. Can you tell which bottle is which? Our first clue lies in the bottles themselves. The first bottle is for the freezing potion. It freezes anything it gets into contact with. The second bottle carries a potion for making people stronger. The third bottle makes people feel sick. Ew! The fourth bottle is the one for finding eternal love. And the last bottle with the frog is for turning frogs into princes. I quite like these potions. On Amy's graduation day, her mother introduced her to a few eligible bachelors. She really wanted her daughter to find a new love, since she had recently broken up with her college sweetheart. She talked with the guys who all said they were training to be airplane pilots, but she figured out one of them was lying. How could she tell? Take a look at the first guy. He's wearing glasses, which means he can't be a pilot. Pilots need to have perfect eyesight. James, a father of 4, went to work, leaving a $50 bill on the kitchen table for his oldest daughter, Quinn, to go shopping. When he got home, there was no food. Quinn said she hadn't been able to go shopping because he hadn't left any money. James asked his other 3 kids to come down and question them. Beverly said she saw the money on the table but didn't touch it. Kenneth said she opened the window and put the money under the book so it wouldn't fly away. Owen said he'd put the bill inside the book between pages 57 and 58. Can you tell who's lying? Owen is lying. He couldn't put the money between pages 57 and 58 because they're the 2 sides of the same page. Cindy was playing with her time machine when she opened a portal to another dimension. The portal took her to a sorcerer's house in the middle of nowhere. The sorcerer was so powerful that she closed Cindy's portal and Cindy was stuck there. The sorcerer proposed that they play a game. She said she had 2 cards in her hand, one that said free and another that said stay. Cindy could pick only 1 card. If she got the one with free written on it, she'd go back home. But if she picked the one with the word stay, she'd stay forever. But the sorcerer was such a trickster that she changed both cards to stay. Even so, Cindy managed to be freed by the sorcerer, beating her at her own game. How did she do it? Cindy anticipated what the sorcerer would do, so as soon as she picked the first card, she threw it in the fire, saying it was by mistake. That way, the sorcerer would have to show her the remaining card was stay, which meant that the one she had burnt had to be the card with free written on it. Way to go, Cindy! After Colton was shipwrecked, he found himself on a deserted island. Luckily, he still had his pills with him. There are 2 blue pills and 2 red ones. He needs to take 1 red pill and 1 blue pill, but his eyesight was severely compromised after the wreck, so he can't tell them both apart. There's nobody around to help him. How can he manage it? Colton should break each of the 4 pills into half and eat 4 halves of each. This way, he'll take exactly 1 red and 1 blue. Last week, Sophia attended the town's much-anticipated masquerade ball. She chose to show off her mother's vintage diamond necklace. But during the event, she noticed her necklace was gone. She called a private investigator immediately and asked him to bring her diamond necklace back, whatever it cost her. Very quickly, the investigator gathered 3 suspects. Kate, the one with the blue mask, says she spent most of the evening in the garden. Bianca, wearing the green mask, insists she was in the bathroom when the theft occurred. Jake, with the silver mask, says that he only noticed Sophia's necklace was missing after he came back from the bar. The investigator immediately knew who was lying and recovered the diamond necklace. Can you figure it out too? How did Jake know the exact moment the necklace went missing? It must have been him. Plus, take a look at his pocket. It looks like there's some triangular-shaped object in there, doesn't it? Luke was an adventurer, and on his latest trip, he went to Vietnam. There, he came across an ancient treasure map. The map led him to a remote island where a legendary treasure was said to be hidden. But the treasure's location was protected by a series of cryptic symbols. He needed to find it to unlock the treasure. Take a look at the encoded message that appeared and help Luke figure out a pattern that will take him to the treasure. The message said, "Carrot, sun, astronaut, filled you room." This wasn't so tricky, huh? The key to answering this one is noticing the pattern. The letters in capitals are the ones that make up the password. So, the correct password is Ray. The other words are just there to confuse you. Way to go, Luke! One of these girls has a pet at home. Can you tell me which one? It's the one in the middle. She's got scratches all over her arm. The holiday season is coming, but criminals are still busy with their evil deeds. Your help is needed. Get your magnifying glass and let's make Christmas merry again. A man was walking along the road heading for a resort town. At one point, he saw a weird scene. Santa was standing on the side of the road. His sleigh had apparently spun out and ended up in a ditch. The man approached Santa to find out what exactly had happened. It turned out Santa had gone out to test his brand new reindeer-free electric sleigh. But suddenly, the Grinch on skis appeared right in front of the sleigh. So Santa had to make a sharp turn. And that's how his sleigh ended up in a ditch. Surprisingly, the man didn't believe Santa. Why? Look closely at the trail left by the sleigh. You can see that first the sleigh turned sharply, and only after that did a skier pass there. The Grinch is not guilty in this case. Most likely, Santa just lost control and now wants to frame the green guy. Santa needs to deliver some gifts, but not all chimneys are safe for him. Can you help Santa figure out which chimney he should pick? The first chimney seems to be fully blocked and no air flows through it. All snow and ice have melted on the second chimney. The fireplace must be working there. As for the third chimney, it's open enough for oxygen to flow through, but the snow hasn't melted completely, which means the fireplace is off. The Grinch wants to change himself to be part of the celebrations instead of hating Christmas. The only problem is that his body isn't cut out for Christmas cheer. He's come to Santa to ask for help. Which part of the Grinch's body needs to be modified the most to fix his anti-Christmas sentiment? His chest is where the problem lies, so we'd better swap that heart out for a bigger one, bursting with Christmas joy. Rudolph the reindeer went missing, and this put the whole Christmas at risk since children wouldn't receive any presents. Santa only knew that Rudolph had gone to the supermarket to get the products for Christmas pudding. The news quickly spread on TV, and 3 witnesses appeared. Judy said that the night before, she'd been passing by an ice cream stand on Palm Street and had seen someone grabbing a reindeer and putting it in a truck. But at that time, she didn't think it could be Rudolph. Philip claimed that he had seen a baby reindeer in a parking lot near a supermarket. The animal was eating hay together with a pony. A man in a jacket approached the animals and they all left. And Kira said that at night, she had seen a reindeer being grabbed by a man and taken away in a black car. Can you figure out who actually witnessed Rudolph's abduction? It was Kira. Rudolph didn't go out to get an ice cream, neither was he a baby reindeer. So what Kira saw seems to be the closest to the truth. Look at this battle. What do you think? Who isn't going to survive it? Everyone will survive. It's just arm wrestling. Almost all the presents have been stolen from Santa's factory. It all happened in the last couple of hours. The weather was nasty. There was snow on the ground and a light rain was falling. The suspects have been narrowed to 3 elves. Each of them claims to have been at home the entire time. As the roads are too dangerous to navigate on foot, the elves can only get around on their sleighs. Can you guess who has taken the presents? It was elf number 2. The first sleigh is damaged, and there's a lot of snow on the third one. It's unlikely someone's been using it recently. As for the second elf sleigh, there is some ice under it, which means that he's recently left the house. While he was away, the rain fell on the snowless ground where the sleigh had previously been parked. And now, this spot is frozen into ice. Let's move to the North Pole. Someone has been stealing Santa's cookies, which he keeps in the reindeer stables. Santa suspects that the criminal is one of his elves who work there, but he's also worried because all of them are allergic to chocolate, and the disappearing cookies are chocolate chip ones. Detective Robinson gathers all the elves in one room. One of them keeps sticking out his tongue and then blushing and apologizing. The second elf has traces of something brown on his hands, and the third elf keeps smiling and giggling. Look at them attentively and try to figure out which one is the thief. The guy with brownish spots on his fingers works in the stables, so no wonder his hands are dirty. Elves are cheerful creatures, which means that a smiling and giggling elf is not actually an unusual occurrence. But the first elf, his tongue is likely swollen as a result of an allergic reaction. Here's our cookie thief. I'm a cookie you might eat, and some might say I'm a flavored Christmas treat. I have brown arms and eyes, and don't forget my feet. What am I? I'm a gingerbread man. After accidentally falling out of his sleigh, Santa had problems with his leg. It hurt to walk, so he went to see the doctor. What did the specialist give Santa to help him walk? A candy cane, of course! 3 teenagers sneak into Santa's home. When he comes home after work, he sees 3 guilty-looking kids and his tall plastic Christmas tree lying on the floor. Santa knows that one of the kids must have climbed the tree, which made it fall over. He calls the police. After looking at the kids attentively, a police officer tells Santa who is guilty. Can you figure it out too? This guy with green hair looks as if he has some Christmas tree needles in his hair. But don't forget that the tree is plastic and can't lose any needles. The guy on the left has a star on his sweater that looks like the one at the top of the tree. But look, it's embroidered. Now look at this girl with a pretty sparkly scarf. It looks suspiciously similar to tinsel decorating the Christmas tree. That's because it is tinsel. Busted! Where can you find Santa's reindeer? It depends on where you left them. Santa called Detective Chris Mallet and asked him to go to a haunted gingerbread house and face one of 3 horrifying monsters. They had taken up residence in Santa's tasty but currently unapproachable cabin. Chris's potential opponents are a giant reanimated Christmas turkey. It's threatening the detective with knives and looks extremely unfriendly. A scorching hot eggnog monster that looks like a moving pile of slime. Or a menacing-looking huge candy cane creature with long, sharp limbs. Help the detective make the right choice. The turkey can be very dangerous with those knives. The candy cane's monster's limbs are too sharp to come close to it. As for eggnog, besides being very hot, it doesn't pose any serious danger. The detective just needs to push the monster towards a gingerbread wall, and it'll absorb the creature very fast. On Christmas Eve, Santa leaves his workshop located at the North Pole to deliver gifts to good children. In what direction does he travel? In the south direction. It's the only direction you can travel from the North Pole. I could keep a giant's foot warm, and people look forward to finding me near the fireplace. What am I? I'm a Christmas stocking. What does the gingerbread man put on his bed instead of a blanket? He uses a cookie sheet. He is a man during the winter, but you might drink him during the summer. Who is he? A snowman. And finally, let's have some fun. Who says, "Oh, oh, oh"? Santa walking backwards. Today, we're visiting a truly bizarre university. Keep your eyes wide open and don't trust anyone.
Yeah.
Look at these people. One of them is not a student. Can you figure out who it is? This lady in black is a supernatural creature. Look at the mirror. Both she and her reflection are facing you. It's not possible in the real world. Students at this university aren't exactly known for their honesty. Look, it's midterms, and someone is cheating during an exam. Can you help the professor find this dishonest student? It's this guy. He has answers written on his arm. Thanks to your help, the professor has caught the cheating student, but she's a kind-hearted woman and gives the guy another chance. He needs to solve this riddle to pass the exam. Would you maybe like to help the poor student you've exposed? Keep in mind that this riddle has challenged many intelligent minds, and for good reason. The missing number in the third circle is 225. The numbers in these circles seem to be completely random at first glance. But let's perform some basic arithmetic operations, addition, subtraction, and multiplication, and try to figure out the pattern. We need to follow these steps. Look at the first circle and pair the opposites. The first pair gives us 11. As for the second pair, we need to calculate the difference between the numbers. It's 9. The next step should be finding the difference between the two results and squaring this number. We get 4. Let's do the same for the second circle to make sure that this is a working scheme. And now, let's find the missing number. So, 225 is the answer. The exams are over and students are celebrating, but the party is kinda shady. Look around. Someone who doesn't belong to this college has sneaked inside. Can you spot the intruder? Look at this young lady. Her feet don't seem to be touching the ground. She must be a ghost. During the holidays, supernatural beings occupied the college, and now they're haunting the students. Even worse, someone has bitten your friend. Which of these people is a vampire? This young man has a t-shirt that looks as if it has some bloodstains on it. But that's just a print. This woman has a whole garlic knob hanging as a necklace on her chest, so she's not a vampire. But look at the man who's drinking some red liquid. I bet it's not fruit juice. He's actually the one we should be aware of. Imagine coming back to your dorm and finding out that your roommate is missing. Plus, everything around you looks kinda suspicious. Strange sounds, weird smells. Is your roommate hiding some terrible secret? Let's look at the sky. See that full moon? Now, pay attention to the walls and the floor of your room. You can notice scratch marks and chunks of fur here and there. That's the answer. Your roommate is a werewolf. After figuring out your roommate's secret, you realize you need to clear your head. You go to a morning pool party. People are swimming, playing around, and having fun. But one of the guests is a mermaid. Can you figure out who it is? This girl just pretends to be a mermaid. She even has matching makeup. This guy is wearing special gloves with membranes between the fingers. The mermaid is actually this girl who's staying as far away from the swimming pool as possible. She's even wearing a raincoat. All because if even a small water droplet touches her skin, she will get her tail. It's time to go back to school, only to find out that one of your professors is possessed. Who is that? This man has red eyes and messy hair, but that's most likely because he's sleep deprived. This woman is unnaturally pale, but she's suffering from food poisoning. Look at that piece of pizza next to her. It sure doesn't look fresh. At the same time, the guy on the right has two shadows instead of one. He's definitely possessed. Okay, now let's move on to something less supernatural, but no less tricky. Imagine having to empty a jar of milk and a jar of water into a bowl. But of course, there are several conditions. You must be able to see the border between the milk and the water. You must be able to separate the milk from the water. And finally, you aren't allowed to use any kinds of dividers to keep these two liquids apart. How can you do it? All you need to do is to pour the water into the bowl first and freeze it. Now all that's left to do is to add the milk. In the city where people are keen on brain teasers and riddles, 4% of people don't list their phone numbers. So if we select 40 random people from the phone directory, how many of them will have unlisted numbers? The answer is 0%. You see, if the numbers of these 40 people are in the phone directory, they're already listed by default. David invited 7 friends to his birthday party. They brought a beautiful big cake. but they couldn't eat it unless it was divided into 8 equal pieces with just 3 cuts. Luckily, they managed to do this and could enjoy the treat. Would you be able to do the same? To fulfill this task correctly, you need to follow the next steps. First of all, cut the cake across the diameter through the middle point. After that, cut the cake horizontally. Now you already have 4 equal pieces. And finally, cut the cake across the diameter, perpendicular to the first cut. There you go, 8 equal pieces and just 3 cuts. Now, look at the poor guy. One of his friends has pulled a paint bucket prank on him. Look at the rest of the people attentively and try to figure out who it was. It was definitely Luke. Look at his pants. There are paint stains there. Now, look at these girls. They're in a dark basement tied with ropes. Who is going to be the first to escape? Most likely, it'll be the first girl. She's got long, beautiful nails. She's bound to have a file to look after them. It can help her cut through the rope. There's been a robbery on the train, and one of these people is hiding the stolen goods. Who can it be? It's this woman. She only pretends to be pregnant. Her belly has a bizarre shape. It's suspiciously square. The police had been looking for Kyle for 2 days. The guy went hiking and never came back. Finally, he was found. Someone had hit him on the head and left him lying in the bushes. Kyle only managed to say, "Friend," and lost consciousness. The police officers had 3 suspects, all of them Kyle's friends. Zachary said he spent these last days at work getting ready for a conference. Jeremy told the detectives he'd sprained his ankle and had been in bed for 4 days. And Billy explained that he'd been to New York. The man even showed the police officers his boarding pass. Who's responsible for the accident with Kyle? Billy showed the police just one boarding pass from Chicago to New York. Then how did he get back from New York? His story sounds fishy. Jordan was very late for a job interview, but when he drove up to the office building, he found out there were no free parking spaces. He decided to leave his car a bit farther from the entrance. But even though there were several other vehicles in that area, parking was prohibited there. Luckily, Jordan came up with an idea and didn't get fined. What did he do? He took a parking ticket from another car and put it on his windshield. It looked as if he had already been fined.